Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a stack of reports that, they reveal a pretty spectacular illusion. You see, in 2023, EU electricity demand fell to a 20-year low, a really staggering collapse. It dropped to somewhere around, 2,700 TWh. And on the surface, that sounds like a massive win for efficiency, right? For conservation.
Right, and that's the crucial layer we have to peel back immediately. Our mission today is to show that this historic drop is overwhelmingly a story of demand destruction, not benign efficiency. Europe is paying a crippling, and I mean structural, price for this void, and that cost is permanent.
And the numbers really do bear that out. Demand in 2023 was 6.4% lower than in 2021, so before the crisis really hit. And the key thing here is that two-thirds of that drop has nothing to do with the weather. It's actual loss of economic activity.
Exactly. And the hoped-for recovery, that sort of V-shape where prices bounce back quickly, it just hasn't happened. We're seeing what they call an L-shape, a sharp drop, and then just stagnation, a flat, disappointing plateau.
So what's driving this? What's the engine behind this destruction?
Well, if you dig into the mechanics, the core driver is a catastrophic loss of industrial competitiveness. The price disparity between Europe and its rivals is just staggering. Last year, industrial electricity prices in the EU were 158% higher than in the US.
Wait, 158% for electricity? And I saw the gas number was, 345% higher? I mean, that's not a gap. That's a structural death sentence. You can't run heavy industry with those numbers.
You can't, and we're seeing results. The capacity loss is permanent. The BASF case study is a perfect example. We're talking about the permanent downsizing of their massive site in Ludwigshafen. They're shutting down highly energy-intensive plants like those making ammonia for fertilizer, and they are explicitly shifting future investment, future capital, to China and the U.S. Those are decisions that take decades to reverse.
So this isn't just about a corporate balance sheet. This is the hollowing out of Europe's entire strategic backbone.
Absolutely. Think about materials like aluminum and zinc. We sometimes call them solid electricity because of how much power they take to produce. Since 2008, Europe has lost about two-thirds of its primary aluminum capacity. And when you lose that, you're threatening your strategic autonomy. You lose the ability to build things like EV batteries and wind turbines without relying on imports. You're importing someone else's cheaper energy in the form of a finished product.
Okay, so that's heavy industry. But what about the new economy? The cloud, data centers. Surely that can absorb some of this drop. That seems to be the hope, but the data suggests we've hit a kind of digital paradox.
Yeah, and data centers did add demand, around 36 TWh between 2020 and 2024. But that's nowhere near enough to offset the 100 to 150 TWh drop from manufacturing. It's a drop in the bucket.
And there's another problem, isn't there? A hard ceiling.
Yes. The counterintuitive part is that even if digital demand was infinite, we've hit a wall. Grid congestion. In the core of Europe's data traffic, the so-called FLAPD region, Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris, Dublin, the average wait time to connect a new data center, it's blown out to 7 to 10 years.
7 to 10 years. So the physical infrastructure just can't keep up. It turns a boom sector into a paralyzing bottleneck.
Precisely. And this structural pain, it doesn't just stay in the corporate world, it trickles down.
Right. And we're seeing this chilling social cost hiding underneath that lowest demand headline.
Energy poverty.
I mean, the inability to keep your home adequately warm rose from 6.9% in 2021 to 10.6% in 2023. That's nearly 47.5 million people affected by this so-called demand destruction.
And if you connect all these dots, you see the bigger picture. The EU has essentially exchanged one dependency for another. They successfully cut their reliance on Russian gas. That was the goal. But the cost was losing domestic industrial production. So now they're just becoming more reliant on importing essential materials, chemicals, metals from outside the EU.
So let's just summarize the cost of this 2023 drop. It's permanent industrial capacity loss, a massive $700 billion diverted from public funds into emergency subsidies, and rising energy inequality.
And it leaves us with a really important strategic question, especially with the new Draghi report talking about radical reforms to decouple renewable prices from gas. Given the permanent factory closures we've seen and the total failure of that V-shaped recovery, is this lowest demand in 20 years just a temporary crisis low? Or are we actually witnessing the new diminished baseline for the European economy? That's the challenge for you to consider as you think about where all this is heading.